Good morning, everybody, and glad to have you here again. If you will, if you'd like to follow along today, we'll be in the 11th chapter, starting 11th chapter of Proverbs, starting in the ninth verse. 11th chapter, starting in the ninth verse. And again, this chapter, this is Solomon is comparing a righteous man to a wicked man. And we see that in this opening verse today. A hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. Wicked people use their words, use language, use the words they say to destroy people. Gossip, rumors, etc. And we all, I think, are painfully aware of the damage that is often done by a hypocrite with his mouth, as Solomon describes them here. But we have the option, he says, of through knowledge shall the just be delivered. Righteousness can help us to use knowledge to avoid that type of conversation. Just because it rattles around our brain, because it rattles through there, doesn't mean that we have to repeat it because we hear it. Doesn't mean that we have to go and repeat those things. That we have to be involved in the gossip and the slander that is so common in our world. Verse 10, when it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth, and when the wicked perish, there is shouting. And what he's saying is that a city that is filled with righteous people is a happy city. It is a good place to be. Yet the contrast is when the opposite would be then that when they're not there, that when the wicked are populating the city, that it is an unhappy place to be. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. Why does a city rejoice when it has wise people in it? Because again, righteous people, he says, they make their communities better. They build it up. Their wisdom influences and impacts every area of their life. But he says a city can be destroyed by the mouth of the wicked. And it's really an interesting idea when you think about that. The cities then, that in Solomon's day would have been walled cities with gates, very secure against outside attack, military attack. He says, but that city can be destroyed by wicked people, ungodly people who are spreading gossip and lies and slander. I think, again, we're aware of that danger, but imagine even more so if you were inside of a walled city where the gates are closed and people are kind of locked up together, and you've got a number of wicked people who are slandering and destroying people with their words and with the things that they say. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. Again, on that same theme, he says a wicked man destroys his neighbor. He doesn't, again, he in whatever way, most likely referring here again to slander and gossip, but in other ways, he destroys his neighbor. But a righteous man realizes and knows that everything he knows doesn't have to be said. and a talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Again, a righteous man can be relied on to keep a confidence, whereas a wicked man, again, spreads gossip, spreads what he hears. Again, just because we hear it doesn't mean we have to repeat it. And specifically, what he's talking about here is when somebody tells you something in confidence, that a wise man can be relied on to keep that confidence and not to share, again, spread that information all over town. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. A wise man looks for counsel. A wise man looks for wisdom and looks for advice from others, and because of that, he says that there is safety or victory or success for that person. But the person who rejects good counsel, he says they fail. And great advice that we all should seek out and have in our circle a few people that both of these last two proverbs are true of. One that we can go to in confidence, that we know we can speak to, and what we tell them is not going to be on the evening news, but then that we have those people in our life as well, that those people are those who we can turn to and for wisdom and rely on for good advice. And we could take this section of Proverbs and apply them to a family, to a church, to a workplace, the importance of, again, being wise and guarding our conversation, guarding what we say, who we say it to, how we say it. All of us understand, I hope, the danger of words. I've said numerous times in preaching over the years, people say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You obviously have just not had the right words said about you, because words hurt and words can do a great deal of damage. And it's important that we measure our words carefully before they say them. Just because it rattles around up here doesn't mean they need to come out. And oh, how much pain could have been saved over the years, how much trouble could have been avoided if we would have lived by this section of Solomon's wisdom. You think about that today. Be careful what you say. Be careful who you say it to. Be careful in all of our communication that we seek righteousness in that area. Have a great day. We'll see you back here soon.